I just pulled a really big book out of my shelf and it was covered in dust. Clean much? Hey Booktube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and I am going to be doing a tag today. This is the 1001 Books tag. It was originated by Sandy at Ms. Reads a Lot. She came up with her first original tag. I love Sandy, and Sandy mentioned me in Booktubers she loves, and I love her right back because she's awesome. So her channel will be linked below. Go and visit her. She's pretty wonderful. She is doing a book project, the 1000 Books You Must Read Before You Die. And so that's why she originated this tag. But it's pretty cool, the project that she's doing. So go take a look and check her out. So she created this tag, which I'm going to answer for you. So get your popcorn and get comfortable. The first prompt, 1001 lists. Do you follow any book lists? It can be prize list or a challenge like the Rory Gilmore challenge. The only book prize list that I follow religiously is the Booktube Prize, and this is the perfect time to plug the Booktube Prize, which was originated and maintained and managed by Robert from Barter Hordes. Okay, I judged the Booktube Prize the very first inaugural year. I took year 2 off and I just judged it this past year. The Booktube Prize is looking for judges. There are now 3 categories: fiction, nonfiction, and translated fiction. We do have the number of judges necessary to have all 3 categories. I'm talking a lot with my hands today. But we really need some more judges for more participation and to make sure we have enough people to keep all of the rounds going. So I am linking the Booktube Prize announcement video, the call for judges video. Please go and look at that video and respond back if you're interested. You do not have to be a booktuber. You could be somebody who's constantly following Booktube, and you could be on Instagram, and you could be a reader, just anyone who is passionate about reading and has watched these prize result videos for a few years. Please sign up. So I will put out another call for judges in another video in December, because we're getting to the point where January's coming, and the next Booktube Prize is 2022 is going to start. So please take a look. We'd love to have more judges. We'd love to have more people involved. It's super fun, and you get exposed to so many new books that way. So that was my plug. Other than that, I'm not super into book prizes. I do pay attention to the Booker, who wins the Booker, the National Book Award. I pay attention to who wins the Pulitzer, those types of things. But I will never be one of those readers who reads the entire list. I'm just not interested in that. I have done many read-alongs. This past year, I did my George Eliot 2021. I read all of George Eliot's remaining novels that I hadn't read. So there was a group of us that did that. That would be as close to I get as a book list. And yeah, that's what I do. The next one, 1001 books. Approximately how many physical books do you currently own, and how many ebooks? Okay. I have cataloged all my books in an app that I have on my phone called BookBuddy Plus. And I think it took me 2 weeks to go around my house and scan every single book, the ISBN barcode on the back. For any of the books that I could not scan, I entered manually. I looked them up online, that type of thing. I have many old books with no barcode, and I've already have multiple copies of that are not scanned. So all of that put together, I have approximately 1,500 physical books in my house. On my Kindle, I have approximately 400 Kindle books. So books altogether is about 1,900 books. So The next one, 1001 Arabian Nights. Have you read any stories from the Arabian Nights? Do you have a favorite? If not, if you haven't read it, do you want to? I have never read 1001 Arabian Nights, and yeah, sure, I'd be interested. I've never looked for it, but yeah, I would be interested in reading some of it. 1001 Flavors. Do you have a favorite food or flavor? Is cheese a flavor? It is a food. I love Mexican food, and it's the Americanized version of Mexican food. I know true Mexican food is much more nuanced than what we Americans call whatever tortilla covered in melted cheddar is. But I love Mexican food. I actually really like cooking Mexican food, doing burritos and tacos and different varieties and flavors. My favorite flavor has got to be chocolate, and Britta Bowler torments me by sending pictures of her desserts that she acquires, and she goes out almost every weekend and buys chocolate, and she'll send me pictures of that stuff, and I'm just salivating. And I just told you another one of Britta's dirty little secrets. So, and we've exchanged dessert photos back and forth, so it's not just all on her side. So chocolate. I love coffee. I love chocolate flavored coffee creamer, but I would say chocolate is a favorite flavor. 1001 Pages. Have you read a book that is over 1001 pages? Is there one that you recommend, and is it worth the time? What is the longest book you have read? Yes, I have read a few books over 1001 pages. This one, let's see, there's notes on this one, so I didn't mark it yet. Sorry about that. I almost never do. You know that, if you've been around for any length of time. This particular book has 1,243 pages. It is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. And I love, love, love this book. Yes, I recommend it. Go out and read it. This is one of the only books I have where I've done that to the spine. And I'm proud of that, because this is a book that I was cracking all the way open, and absolutely adore this book. This is one of the best vengeance, adventure stories I've ever read. And I'm not necessarily attracted to that type of story or that type of book, but this is exceptional. Yes, absolutely recommend. Go out and read it. This next one is, good gracious, a hardcover, and oh boy, this was for a class. So this was for a class while I was in seminary, and I remember receiving this book in the mail, and I cried. I literally cried. And I will try to post a picture here of how thick this book is compared to a pen. This book is 1,251 pages. It is Christian Theology by Millard J. Erickson. This is the book. This was for a class that was 2 years long, and it took three semesters to finish this entire book. The class was broken out into 1.5 years. So this is an actually very interesting book. Would I recommend anybody taking it off the shelf and reading it? No, not really. But I actually liked it. I learned a lot from that, and it's a great reference tool. There is a book I want to read, and this one is 1,474 pages. It is A Suitable Boy by Vikram Seth. I would love to get to this in 2022. Yeah, I've had this book for a while, so I really, really want to get to this. I am actually a reader who loves giant books. I love being immersed in a really long book. I've read many more books that are less than 1,000 pages, but are in the 800 to 900 page range, and I love them. Very short novellas I don't like, because it doesn't give me enough time to really get involved and to sink into it and get lost in it. Let's see. 1001 Buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list, and what is one thing on the list? I do not. I really don't give myself a bucket list. It's interesting, but there's not a lot that I feel I really want to do before I die. I am a very simple person. I'm a homebody. I love tranquility. I haven't had a bad life, but it's been very hard. And long story, that's all I'm going to say. But I really like my simple life. I love tranquility, quiet. I love doing simple things, enjoying family, that type of thing. The one thing that I would love to do, and this would take time and money, is I would love to live in a city for a month or more. I've never lived in a city. I've never lived anywhere that is close to a city. I've had to make plans to drive either an hour or more, or take a bus. I did take a bus to New York City to stay with a friend over a weekend. That was a 6-hour-long bus ride, and it was a great weekend. I had a blast, but it was only a weekend, and there were so many things we wanted to do that we didn't get a chance to do. We went to the New York Library, we walked through Times Square, we just walked through Manhattan and looked at so many different things. But I would love to live in a city, whether it's Boston or New York City, close to bookstores, close to restaurants, just to experience that, just to get a flavor for that. And I've lived in a rural or suburban setting my whole life, so that's as close as I've gotten to a bucket list. 1001 numbers. Do you have a lucky number, and is there a story behind it? I do not. No lucky numbers. 1001 authors. Do you have a favorite author and or genre? I changed my channel name for Middlemarch, so my favorite author is George Eliot. My favorite genres are fiction and classics, but I read almost every genre except for horror. I do not like Stephen King. I do not like any horror gore type of a book. I do like thrillers. I like psychological thrillers, mysteries, all kinds of stuff. But George Eliot by far has just given me so much in my reading life. I love Jane Austen. I love the Brontes. I love a lot of other more obscure classics authors. I do like Dickens. I like Hawthorne. I like a lot of different people. For regular fiction, I'm really enjoying Maggie O'Farrell's writing, Anna Burns, Bernardine Evaristo, N.K. Jemisin. She's more science fiction, but I love her books. I love her writing. Jhumpa Lahiri, all kinds of people. Larry McMurtry is a favorite of mine. John Irving is a favorite of mine. Lots of them. But by far, George Eliot, and that's pretty obvious. Again, if you've been here for any length of time. Let's see. 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity? I know Sandy is a really big outdoor person, kayaking and camping and that type of thing. I'm an indoor person. I am much more an indoor person. Homebody. I love creature comforts. I love reading and movies and dinners and that type of thing. I do really love the water. I love going to the water, swimming in the water. I love being outside, but I'm not an outside activity person. We will go to North Conway, New Hampshire, quite a lot. We have been for years, and it's beautiful. It's mountains, and I'm not a skier, but the scenery is just gorgeous. And so I love being outside and enjoying nature, but I don't tend to do a lot of activities out there. 1001 book clubs, not a prompt, but a question for the comments. Should I start a 1001 book club with a book a month for a read along? Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, go for it. I have a tip. I have been leading a book group for 20 years in person. Do not do it unless you are super passionate about it, because it will get away from you. It will overtake your life. You will be consumed with thinking about it and what book to read this month and people getting involved. So if you are passionate about it, it's something you would love to do, you would love to start, absolutely go for it. Let's see, 1001 friends. Tag some friends. Sandy is going to tag 10 plus, or she did 10 plus 1, but tag however many you would like. I was tagged by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. So Kelly, thank you very much. And her channel is in the description box below as well. I love Kelly. I love her style. I love the books that she reads. She reads a lot of books that I would not pick up, but that's one of the reasons I love watching her, is I love listening to her review the books and to tell the rest of us why she loves them. We do have some really favorite books in common, and I read a book now in November at the beginning of this year. I will link the book. The book will be down below. But I first saw that book on her channel, and it was a 5-star book for me. Beautiful book. Highly recommend it. But I am going to tag Erin from Erin Go Read. Erin, if you see this and you're doing some tags, you're tagged. Taking Tea with Catherine, because I told her a long time ago I would tag her in something. Sean the Book Maniac, I'm tagging you if you haven't done this already. I don't think you have. Roz from Scally Dandling About the Books. Mariana Mas Books. She is a favorite of mine, Mexican booktuber. She loves Tolkien. She loves fantasy. And I love her energy. So Mariana, you are tagged. And hey, Britta Bowler, you're tagged too. So please do the tags. There is no pressure. Whenever I tag anybody, it's just for fun. Do not feel pressured to do this. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your answers would be to any of these prompts. And put in the comment if you want Sandy to start a 1001 book club with a monthly book. So that's about it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.